So yeah, before we move on to closing remarks, I just wanted to take 5 or 10 minutes of your time to advertise our wiki and validation efforts. But we have more time than that. So if you have any questions about the new features, demos, or anything other before spending some time on this. If not, let me just take some time. Again, just to advertise the wiki and the validation efforts we are pushing. So we are actively maintaining and updating and creating the main documentations of this ASTRA-sim framework, the APIs and the workload system, network layers, and so much more. This is the website, ASTRA-sim docs. So you can see the ASTRA-sim documentations if you access this wiki page. As you can see, we have several tabs getting started to set up the ASTRA-sim from the scratch. And we try to incorporate a lot of documentations layer by layer, including the workload system and the network, as well as we are maintaining or actively creating the documentations for the compute and the remote memory backend. And as you can see at the end, we're also pushing the validation results to the ASTRA-sim Wiki as well. So for example, the Getting Started webpage at the wiki will really show you how to set up the ASTRA-sim for different OS, how to build the ASTRA-sim, how to run the ASTRA-sim with different example configurations, stuff like that. So outside of this demo, if you're interested in setting up the ASTRA-sim, you can just go to the wiki page and follow the commands shown here. And this is, I'm just fetching the layer by layer descriptions, what we are putting here. So for example, in the workload layer, we are really trying to describe what the workload layer is, what we are doing here. For example, we are giving the high level ideas of what we are doing here. For example, we try to explain that we are parsing the chakra input file, what the chakra input file looks like, and what's the change between the previous version and the next version, and so much more. So again, if you have any questions, you may just go and check the ASTRA-sim Wiki page for specific layers or behaviors. System layer as well, we are trying to explain some things in more details that's not covered in this demo. For example, how we're actually scheduling the collectives, how we are managing those inter and intra-level collective schedules, as well as the documentations about how we're simulating the custom collective plans. The same goes for the network. Here I only pasted the documentation of the analytical network backend, but we are also showing how to install the dependencies, how to set up the analytical network backend. We are also actively adding the documentations for the NS3, as well as the NS3 simulations documentation itself. So just stay tuned of our changes in the ASTRA-sim Wiki. And Chakra is an entirely different or a separate independent ecosystem, which is run by the ML Commons. So I also wanted to take some time and introduce the wiki page of the Chakra ecosystem as well, which is under the GitHub of ML Commons Chakra. Taegyang, Jungan, a lot of those Chakra folks are actively maintaining this. So here we introduce a bunch of details about Chakra. For example, we give you the installation guide, how to install Chakra from scratch, how to clone and install that, or even the tool chains we have line by line documentations about how to run the visualizer, how to run the JSONizer, how to run other timeline visualizers, and so much more. So if you have any questions about Chakra, you may refer to this Chakra wiki, again, under the GitHub of ML Commons Chakra. As well as the trace collection, which Jungan covered in this demo. If you want to really see the line-by-line code-base-based demo, you can go to this trace. We have a dedicated wiki page for this trace collection, which has a very detailed explanation of what's Kinero trace, what's the host trace, device trace. So you can go and refer to this trace collection webpage. So with that, let me also take some time of advertising our validation efforts. So we're actively underway of adding more validation results, which will again be put under the ASTRA-sim's documentation, wiki page's validation page. Currently, we've validated the ASTRA-sim at the collective communication level with multiple nodes. What's in progress and what we are pushing at really actively is to validate ASTRA-sim in terms of the end-to-end workload. So with that, how did we did the validation in a nutshell? Basically, we first run the real system measurements to get the practical bandwidth and bandwidth latency and the endpoint delay, because we really cannot use the nominal performance or bandwidth or latency reported by the vendors. Then we run the ASTRA-sim simulation with the measured value, and we did compare the results and see how much they differ. So we have a bunch of simulation results at the collective communication level. Here I'm just fetching the old reduce results and their relations. So in this example, it's the simplest use case, the 2 GPU HP enterprise cluster. And here, yeah, when we run the real system with Nickel and compare with the ASTRA-sim, the error was ASTRA-sim with the analytical backend. The error was around 11%. And when we increase the cluster size to 8 GPU, the geomean error was less than 3%. So we're actively underway of creating these kind of validation results ranging from 8-byte collective size up to 5 GB. And we're trying to actively publish any validation result to the wiki page. So again, we also have validation results for H100 system. We measured the bandwidth efficiencies. The network bandwidth efficiency was around 80% of the reported nominal bandwidth. And by using these numbers, we were able to get roughly 10% geomean error using the simplest analytical backend. And as well as we have this TPU-based, cloud TPU-based 2D Torus system validation results as well. And as you can see, they're also really fairly matching. So what we envision going forward is that we will continuously and actively update the wiki. The updating is in progress. We will add more documentations for specific API specs, which you have to do to integrate new network or compute API, compute simulators, stuff like that. And we also envision to add more validation results. As well as in terms of validation and real system modeling, the plan we are having is to come up to measure these efficiency factors and practically integrate that with the ASTRA-sim, so that in your perspective, you just plug in the nominal performance and just enable a flag saying, hey, I want to run ASTRA-sim with the assumed efficiency of H100 system or a cloud TPU system, which will tune the efficiency factor that being measured by us, which will model the system in more realistic detail. Those are work in progress. I hope to push more validation results and wiki updates, such as the end-to-end validation results and more API documentation, stuff like that. So with that, that was my advertisement of the wiki and validation, and I'll pass the closing remarks to Tushar.